Alrighty, folks, a lot of you believe that you need to do conventional loans. A lot of you look at conventional rates and say they're the lowest. But did you know that we are very close between DSCR and conventional? Also, let's not forget that DSCR loans allow a lot more flexibility. You don't have to commit mortgage fraud to get the loans. And let's not forget, at least as of this recording, it could change tomorrow, the government is shut down. And I am hearing at minimum, conventional loans are going to be going slower, if not stopped altogether. We're going to have this conversation with Jonathan from Convoy Home Loans. Jonathan, at Convoy, you do both conventional and DSCR loans, so I think you're uniquely positioned to talk about this. I think a lot of home buyers and first-time investors just think they have to go conventional because they assume DSCR loans are a lot more expensive. And folks, that's just not true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've never seen the spread, I think, this small because the DSCR and non-conventional, non-QM market hasn't reacted to the post-Fed effects as much as conventional has. And everyone keeps calling and they're still confused why the federal funds rate went down, but mortgage rates went up, right? And I'm still having these conversations across the board. And I think that the biggest thing for people to realize is when conventional moves, right? They move on a daily, hourly basis.
Oh, potentially multiple times a day. Yeah,
exactly. So it's already looking at the future, but also today, and it's pricing and everything moving like that. Non-conventional loans, non-QM loans, DSCR, bank statement, all those things, they don't move based on the hour. They will move based on whatever Wall Street's demand is, what they want, what their demand is to sell these loans, and they'll package them up and then they'll move rates based on appetite, right? And that could be a month later, that could be 2 months later, it could be tomorrow, but they don't move rates as fast as conventional moves. So before the Fed meeting, when there was a massive drop in overall rates, right? There was a bigger spread in between DSCR and conventional investment property loans, purely because the market dropped, so conventional fell immediately, right? Now, because conventional has shot up like crazy over the last 3 weeks, now DSCR hasn't moved that much. So now we're looking at a spread, probably in some cases, actually better in DSCR. Obviously, there's a prepayment penalty, but you can close in the LLC. And yesterday I just priced out a par loan at 75% loan to value at 6.25 on a 30-year fixed on DSCR. Wow. And conventional same product would be 6.5, right? So we're looking at a very rare time in the market, and we've talked about this. We're like preaching to people, trying to get people to look at the signs, but this is that rare moment where you missed the last boat, where 3 weeks ago when we were telling everybody, hey, you should probably move now before the Feds meet, because after the Feds meet, it's probably going to change.
Yep.
This is that moment again where it's like, hey, you guys should probably move before something happens, because if something happens to trigger the non-conventional market to move up again, then you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that train, and the spread's going to expand again.
No, I think that's absolutely right. Again, folks, I think a lot of new investors and home buyers default to conventional because that's just what you're used to. I get it. It makes sense. Again, if you fit in the box, conventional is great, but it's not necessarily the cheapest option. It's also one that's, again, right, wrong, indifferent. I hear lots of investors specifically go, hey, I'm going to do a conventional. I'm going to put it in my name, but hey, do you think it's cool if I transfer this to the LLC after? Folks, by the letter of the law, that's not cool, right? You are committing mortgage fraud. You have the intention of doing something. Conventional won't let you close in an LLC because LLCs are bad. They learned that in the Great Recession. But again, I see a lot of people going there. And again, if the rates are the same, why the heck would you take the risk of getting a conventional loan when you can close in an LLC and a DSCR loan? I think there are too many people skating this. I think there's a bunch of mortgage fraud where people were buying second homes and, then they're really Airbnbs and they're not really second homes. There's lots of people trying to game the system, and folks, it's just not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week with the rise of servicers using AI, right?
Yeah.
And my conversation with one of the major servicers, like they are catching on, right? They know what's going on and they are just waiting for something to trigger the notice for them to be able to be like, hey, okay, now you're served with the notice stating that you're out of compliance, right?
Yep.
And the conversation, I think a lot of clients that I've been having these days is like, what do you want, right? What is it exactly that you want to achieve? Because your short-term vision might affect your long-term goal, right? And what I mean by that is you say right now, I want the cheapest loan, the cheapest rate, the cheapest this, and I understand. However, if your long term vision is you want it in the LLC truly, right? You want the note written into the LLC, you want everything written to the LLC, all of that comes with a little bit more of a cost in
Yeah.
terms of not like a DSCR loan, but you're maybe paying a little bit more right now, but in the long term, your long term vision and your goal is achieved without having to sacrifice and trying to do. It's like the best example I give is like trying to put up, like, I want to build this house, right? And then I put cardboard as
Mm.
instead of plywood, right? And say it's cheaper, similar, cheaper. I'm just gonna build it with plywood and then I want to change the walls later, right?
Mm.
And you can't really do that with cardboard.
Yeah.
So I think like long-term vision versus right now, that's the biggest encouragement that I'm telling a lot of conversations with clients right now is that spread. This is the moment right now if you want to take advantage, whether it be through us or not. This
Yeah.
is the moment if you want to take advantage. This is now, right?
Yeah.
Versus waiting for, oh, I'm going to wait till the biggest conversation I'm hearing now, the biggest objection I'm hearing now in terms of the rates is I'm going to wait to see what happens at the end of the year. And I always like to remind people that historically through the last 4 years that we've been kind of in this crazy market, like the end of the year going into the next month, January, has not been kind of like the prettiest months to do loans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people that are closing in December or January ended up going into process previously. So I'm encouraging people like you go in process and then you can make moves based on being in process versus trying to jump in when everyone's trying to herd mentality in and then losing out on the opportunity because it went away.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about this when I think about conventional and DSCR, I would have had this conversation about speed anyway, but if you throw in a government shutdown now at day 9, could change tomorrow. You know, the federal programs process roughly 2,500 new loans a day, every day they're open. And whether you like it or not, that's going to be a lot slower, if not stop, depending on how long this shutdown goes. So if you're into a deal and you need certainty of closure, DSCR loans are certainly a better way to go. You throw on top of that, you need to close faster because, again, you are not going to get a conventional loan to accelerate things, but you can beg, borrow, and steal and get a DSCR loan done in weeks. I have done it personally. So again, if speed, certainty, closing an LLC, kind of the same rates, if not better. Yes, with prepays, but who cares if you're going to hold it forever? Who cares about the prepay? So again, I think a lot of people default to conventional because they don't know any better, and hopefully this episode got them thinking about what might be a better way.
Yeah, and I actually have a very good case example of another benefit of the LLC versus personal in terms of cost versus price of right now. I just had a client that missed an auto pay payment on a month on their mortgage because they switched servicers going through that whole mess, and then they missed the auto pay, right? And the client was freaking out, being like, I'm gonna get this reported on my credit. My credit's going to be ruined. I'm going to have a 30-day late on my mortgage. My perfect FICO is going to drop. And we called the servicer together, and lo and behold, hey, we don't report on your personal credit. Your business credit is slightly affected,
Sure,
but it's not going to affect your ability to do a credit card or buy a
car or whatever. Yeah,
car or something like that. Your personal credit's not affected. So
beautiful.
that's another amazing benefit, right? To just have that, if you make the mistake, right, it allows you to just kind of walk away with I never want to do that again type feeling, but also be reassured that you have a sense of security, that you're not going to be affected on your personal credit, and it's not going to affect your entire life like a mortgage, because a normal mortgage late would really hurt your chances of doing things, but this saves you. Yeah.
Folks, at the end of the day, Convoy Home Loans is here because they do conventional and DSCR. They bring a unique perspective to the lending game. You should be reaching out you should be reaching out to Jonathan and or Dustin. Jonathan, how does my audience get a hold of you or your partner? What do they do?
Go to convoyhomeloans.com, and in the box when you clicked it, make sure you say ORAT and let us know you came from ORAT. If you are, we've been getting a lot more people on like Facebook channels and those other channels coming in. Please notify whoever you speak to that you are calling from ORAT so that they can push you back into the queue with Dustin and myself.
Yeah, at the end of the day, folks, they take great care of their ORAT family. The entire company knows if you say ORAT, you go right to the top of the food chain. Stop sitting in a queue. Stop dealing with people at the desk. Get the president, get the CEO. And again, you do that by mentioning ORAT. Jonathan, you're amazing. Take care.
Thank you.